Hello all, we are back with another podcast, and this time it is on simple tips to avoid data loss for MSMEs. Why is this podcast going to be so useful for MSMEs? Let us understand what is there in the data of MSMEs. I would say MSMEs have their valuable data in terms of designs, drawings, documents, their MIS, their accounts, their emails, agreements, contracts, HR information. And if any of this is lost, MSMEs cannot run or continue their business. And that's why we have prepared this podcast. And these are going to cover very simple tips to prevent data loss situations or to deal with data loss situations in MSME setup. In order to understand how MSMEs can prevent the data loss, first we have to understand the data loss situations. The situations which can cause the data loss in an MSME setup, and they can be plenty. They could be MSME can lose digital assets due to deletion, infection, hardware failure, loss of laptop asset, or some disaster. So if we are not ready with all these situations, if we cannot deal with all these situations, it will make life very difficult for MSMEs, and they lose the data and they might not be able to continue their business. So we will look at each situation one by one in this podcast, and we will understand how to deal with it and how to overcome them. So the first situation which can cause data loss in MSME setup is basically deletion. Now this deletion can be intentional or accidental. Let's say a user is working on a project and he accidentally deletes all the data, or a user is quitting his job today and he wants to make sure that he is remembered for all wrong reasons in the organization, and he deletes all the data, and let's say he shift deletes all the data. Then the data will be lost. It will be very difficult for that MSME to continue the business. So how to deal with it? So normally in an MSME setup, there are shared folders department wise. Like accounts team works on account folder, project team works on project folder, sales team works on sales folder. So many users work on the folder, and this folder could be on the network or on the cloud. So MSMEs should invest in the technology which is popularly known as active recycle bin. So this active recycle bin, just like we have recycle bin in our Windows computer and we delete the data, it goes to recycle bin. This recycle bin captures the data from the network. So if any user who is working on a shared folder which is on the network or on the cloud, if he deletes the data, shift deletes the data, then also the data is captured in that particular recycle bin, and when organization realizes that data is accidentally deleted, they can easily recover it. Now another question is more dangerous. What if user deletes the data intentionally? He is not going to tell anyone that he has deleted the data. In that case, some other user who would realize that this data was deleted, he would go to a management or IT team and say that this data is not available and we need to recover it. So we don't know when it is deleted. So for that purpose, we need to invest in technology which logs every file operation on the network, so that we can find out that this file was deleted by which user, on what date and at what time. So these are the technologies, active recycle bin and file operations log, are very important for MSMEs to make sure that they come out of any data loss situation pertaining to deletion, accidental or intentional. Our product Black Box, on premise or on cloud, are equipped with active recycle bin and file operations log very well. So it can make sure that you don't lose your data in deletion event, and in case that data is deleted intentionally, you will find out that user and take the actions. Another situation which can cause data loss is ransomware attack or ransomware infection. And for that purpose, organization should be able to prevent the ransomware entering its network, as well as it should be able to recover the data in case ransomware has already entered the network. So this is a two-stage plan or two-stage strategy, plan A and plan B. So I always recommend that every enterprise should be equipped with antivirus on each and every computer. If they have antivirus on each and every computer, all known ransomware, very well we can assume that that particular antivirus will detect them and it will not allow them to activate themselves. Now the problem here is 0 day. Let me explain what 0 day is. Actually, 0 day is the day on which a new ransomware is launched. Normally, most of the antiviruses have their own virus definitions, in which all known viruses and ransomware are already defined. And if any virus or ransomware matches with that particular profile, they detect it and then they don't allow it to activate. Now what happens if it is a 0 day, means a new virus or new antivirus is launched. In that case, what happens, that particular antivirus residing on the system would not be able to detect it because it won't have any profiles to match with that particular new virus or ransomware, and then ransomware will enter. And that is the reason I always recommend that you should have antivirus, so that all known viruses or ransomware don't enter your system. At the same time, you should have plan B, that you should be able to recover your data as soon as possible after the ransomware attack if you are the victim of 0 day ransomware attack. So what to do when we are the victim of a ransomware attack on 0 day? So every enterprise should have a very robust backup system. Normally enterprises understand that backup system means copying all the data on another hard disk on the server or on a NAS device in the network. It is not enough. In order to survive from a 0 day ransomware attack, organization needs far better and advanced a backup system, and that backup has to happen with a different strategy. The first thing is you should have versioned backup. So your backup should be versioned. So today's backup, yesterday's backup, day before yesterday's backup, 2 days before yesterday's backup, and then you can decide for how many days you would like to version your backup. And all your versioned backups should not be accessible over the network or should not be the part of your live media which is being used by the users to store their data. So let's understand, if you have this kind of backup system, what will happen? Let's say today backup has happened, and that particular backup is, let's say, today's version of the backup, and then it is isolated, then it is stored somewhere which is not available on the network. It is on a completely different hardware or some logical network component on which it is there, but it is not accessible on the network. Now let's say ransomware attacks. In that case, all your data would be gone, but you know that you have yesterday's version, you have day before yesterday's version, you have many versions of the past. Then you can actually connect or access that particular device on which all your versions are maintained, and then you can copy it and then users can start working on it. At the most, there will be a data loss of a few hours. Now, how to do this? There are ways to do it. One, you can have one NAS device, you can have process of backup. While backup process is happening, your live data is also disconnected from the network. Or you can have some professional backup system which versions as well as which isolates the versions of the backup. Our product Blackbox has vault and workspace technology which maintains primary chamber and hidden chamber. Primary chamber and hidden chamber are disconnected. Hidden chamber is never accessible over the network. So ransomware affects the primary chamber, hidden chamber is not affected, and hidden chamber contains all the versions of the backup which you can recover with a special user rights. So this is how you can make sure that organization is is protected from any known virus by deploying antivirus, and in case organization is affected by ransomware or virus, they have a hidden chamber or something like that which contains all the versions of their backup, and that is where the ransomware cannot reach, so it is kept like that. So this is how organization can make sure that it can prevent data loss in event of ransomware attack. So the third situation which can cause data loss, it could be disaster or hardware failure. Let's say recently in Ahmedabad there were floods. Many of the companies had their offices in the basement or lower areas, and flood waters actually destroyed most of their electronic assets. Or it could be hardware failure. There could be genuine hardware failure. There could be genuine hard disk failure, and that might cause data loss for an enterprise, for an MSME. So how to deal with that? So as I have suggested, the backup should happen not only in versions, it should also happen off the premise. So nowadays you get very good cloud solutions on which you can push your backup in a very compressed manner, and then those particular cloud storage you can contract, and you can put your data over there. So what happens in case you have unfortunately suffered from any disaster, or maybe your hardware has failed, you can download all that data from your off-premise backup, which is cloud, which is the most cost effective. Then you can make sure that your business continuity is not affected. Our product, which is Black Box on Cloud, offers this kind of service. It compresses the data so that your internet bandwidth is used minimum while data is being pushed off the premises. It encrypts the data, so in case somebody hacks into your cloud space, because of that encryption, that data is useless for the hacker. So it is by means of efficiency on transmitting the data over the bandwidth, as well as the security by encrypting the data, are the two key things when you decide on your cloud backup. But cloud backup is necessary. Disaster may strike anytime, hardware may fail anytime. You should be ready, and that is how you can make sure that your business continuity is not affected. So today we have covered the strategies for MSMEs on how to prevent data loss and how to maintain business continuity. So what we discussed was, first we understood the three situations in which data can be lost. It could be deletion, it could be ransomware, or it could be hardware failure or disaster. So we understood these three situations. We understood how data can be accidentally or intentionally deleted. We understood how ransomware works and how you can deal with it, and we understood what to do in disaster, in event of disaster, or in event of hardware failure. I hope this was useful, and I hope everybody follows this and makes sure that their business continuity is not affected. Thank you very much.